Hi, in this upcoming episode, we're going to discuss user management. User management involves handling that user lifecycle on a server, from adding a user, changing user password, modifying user information, and really querying user information. All goes into user management. We'll talk about certain commands such as useradd to add users, userdel to delete users, usermod to be able to modify user accounts, passwd to change user passwords, and the ID command in order to display the user ID and group configuration. Please join us in this next lab where we're going to discuss these user management commands so you can learn an essential skill of handling user accounts on a Linux server. Please stay tuned. In this episode, we're going to be discussing user management. This is an essential skill for any Linux power user or systems administrator. And of course, you have to understand the life cycle of a user. You can create a user, you have to set a user password, you have to sometimes modify the user account, you have to, of course, be able to change a user's password. You can also have to be able to delete a user account in order to fully manage that user life cycle on a server. So let's get into the terminal and I'll share the commands that you need to understand when it comes to user management. Of course, first thing you have to understand is you need root permissions in order to work with other user accounts. You should not be able to, of course, tweak other user accounts and cause issues on the server unless you have that permission. So, of course, you either have to switch to the root user or run sudo behind most of the commands. So, sudo and the command now to add a user is useradd followed by a username. So let's say user2 or user3. You can go ahead and add the user, give your sudo password here, and it adds user3 on the server. If you want to delete user accounts, again, the command which I'm typing after sudo is userdel, and you can delete users as well. So we'll delete users 1, 2, as well as 3. This is adding and deleting users. Now, it should be understood, and I encourage you to actually read through the man page for useradd. What you will find is while you are adding a user, you can identify other user traits. So things such as down here, what you see, their directory, any comment field, their home directory, whether or not they are using default values, the expiration date for the account, the number of days after the password expires until the account will be permanently disabled, any group ID if you want to change the user's initial default group, any supplementary groups, the directory where you can actually use the skeleton to design the user's home directory with other files, any keys you want to add, whether or not you actually want to create a home directory. You can even set a password. So you can see how many different ways you can modify the useradd account to really customize that user on the server outside of the default values. So I can actually say sudo useradd -G wheel and add a user while at the same time listing that user into the wheel group. So let's try that with user1. All right, so these are just warnings that this user has already existed before, which is fine with me. However, if I now type ID user1, you should see that user1 has been added to that wheel group. I can do this for other users as well using the usermod command. It uses the same switches as that useradd account, but you can modify existing user accounts. So I can add to this wheel group another user, and you can see that now that user is also been added to the group using the usermod. Usermod can also be used to lock and unlock accounts for whatever reason. So I can say usermod minus capital L, this account. And now when I go to use the account with su, it's double R. Once I give the password, it is essentially a locked account, so it will not let me use the account until somebody unlocks it. So let's go ahead and unlock it. I'm going to say usermod minus capital U to unlock it. And now I can switch to this user account. Again, another thing I would encourage you to do, I'm going to type exit to go back. I would encourage you to also read over the man page for usermod, just to get an idea of all the different ways you can modify existing user accounts. Another thing you have to understand how to do, of course, to part of that lifecycle is changing a user password. So sudo, and the command to change a user password is passwd. Now you can give any username and change their password. And set a new user password using the passwd command. So that is now, hopefully by now, you are able to handle that user lifecycle from adding a user, changing user password, modifying the user accounts, and deleting users. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.